Hey guys, this is Kyle Fawcett from Projection Hub, and today I'm going to show you how to create a business plan for a restaurant. Now, I'm not going to write 5,000 words here in front of you, but what I'm going to do is walk you through a simple outline of a business plan template. It's actually free. The template's free. There's no catch. You'll be able to download this template I'm going to show you without any strings attached, because the business plan is only going to be as good as the information you put in it for your restaurant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the outline so you can see the sections and the components that should exist in a business plan. And then I'm going to highlight 5 key points that are probably going to make or break, how successful that business plan is, particularly if you're thinking about, getting a business loan for your, like a startup or expanding a restaurant or opening a new location. What are 5 things that lenders are really going to look for in that? So first of all, who is Projection Hub? We have helped more than 50,000 startups, business owners, founders, create financial projections for their business plans, loan applications, fundraising pitch decks. So, obviously that's a very important section of a business plan. And so I'll talk a little bit about that. Also, who am I? I said my name is Kyle. Before my time at Projection Hub working with businesses on projections, I was actually an SBA, Small Business Administration lender. So I worked with small businesses and startups, reviewed hundreds of business plans, many restaurants, to help them put together a package to get approved or a loan. So yeah, I feel confident in helping you, guide you through this. Now, I'm not a restaurateur. I've never opened a restaurant. I don't plan to open a restaurant, but I've seen a lot of restaurant business plans, and still those 5 key components I'm going to tell you transcend industry and are really going to be important to understand. So one thing I'll mention is if you stick around at the end of the video, again, this template is free. The business plan template is free. If you do have a need for financial projections, we have a financial projection template specifically for restaurants that will help you produce the pro forma statements that your business plan needs, or that you will definitely need for if you're trying to get a loan. And so at the end of the video, I'll give you a promo code to get a discount on that template if you decide you need it. If not, still stick around and kind of watch through the whole video here to learn about the 5 key tips to make your business plan as good as possible. So with that, we will go ahead and jump in. Okay, so why are business plans important? So there's something important to know here, and that is if it's a well-known industry like a restaurant, it's not the most novel concept in the world. The purpose of the business plan is not for you to educate who's reading the business plan on the opportunity of opening a restaurant. They understand the model, the industry. It's not the first time they're going to have seen it. So really what you're trying to do is show them your plan to succeed, prove that you have a roadmap to success. And that's the purpose of this document. Now, if you're making a business plan for a novel industry or a less known industry, then your business plan does have that responsibility of educating on the opportunity as well as demonstrating your plan for success. So I'm going to do a really quick, what we're going to do is just kind of scroll through this outline so you can see the important components of a business plan. And then as we cover the sections that I'll drill down in on those 5 key components that you're really going to want to make sure you have included in your business plan. All right, so first you can see our table of contents here. You have your executive summary, your business description, which really you just want to focus on hitting the high points. What's your business name? Where's it going to be located? Or your restaurant name? Where's it located? What are you going to be serving? What's the price point? Typical customer base? Maybe, what are the total startup funds you're going to need? So really the high level points that, you can fit on 1 page or less. That's kind of like your cover letter for an interview. And the business description will kind of just be, an elaboration of that market analysis, marketing and sales strategy, operations plan, financial projections. So we'll look at each of those sections here. Again, this template is, you're going to have to put in work. If you download this, it's not like you just can hand that to your lender and then you're done. You're going to have to fill this out with your information, but it is very helpful to seek like an example use case so you don't overdo it or underdo it. Because contrary to popular belief, that many people think your business plan is as good as it is long, and that is just not the case. When I was a lender, if a business plan was 40 pages, 50 pages, it was like, oh goodness, come on, and we would skip to the sections that we knew would be important, which are those kind of 5 key areas I'm going to talk about. So if you need to write a really long business plan for your sake to really feel like you have covered your bases, definitely go for it. Do that. But what you deliver to a possible stakeholder or like a lender, make sure that it's like the most concise version of that and just hits the points they need to know. So, you're maybe looking at 10, 15 pages, especially for an industry like a restaurant where you don't need to really describe that opportunity. So first key point we're going to write here is within the market analysis. So, there's a lot of fancy things in here, SWOT analysis, which maybe, that's really not all that important. SWOT analysis kind of is the same across all restaurants. But what's important to do in this section is you need to identify that there is a market for your restaurant. Now, we know restaurants are popular and people are going to continue to go out to eat, but we're talking about in your specific market. You need to provide some evidence that you've done some research that you think that there's an opportunity that your restaurant can succeed in the market that you're going to open it in. So for example, if I wanted to open a steakhouse restaurant, I'm here in Indianapolis. I want to make sure that one, there's an ample group of people who we think are actively going to be dining out, and two, that there's not a oversaturation of steakhouses or even tons of restaurants in where I want to open up, because steakhouses aren't only competing with steakhouses, they're competing with other restaurants too. So there's two ways you go about doing this. One way could be more expensive, more fancy. You pay someone to do market research. You buy a report on geographic, demographic information. You could definitely do that. That's very common with franchises or second, third, fifth location type business models. But there's also free ways to do this. So I'll show you, for example, here. I'm looking at Google Keyword Planner. This is a free tool. Now you have to create a Google AdWords account in order to be able to use this tool, but it is free. And I am going to move my face out of the way here. So you can first see I'm searching within Indianapolis, Indiana. And then what I want to know is how often are people searching for the phrases steakhouse in Indianapolis or steakhouse near me located in Indianapolis. So you can see, we're talking 3,000 people, maybe more when you combine other long tail search, keyword searches that might be in the same thing. We're talking more than 3,000 people a month searching for steakhouses near me. Now, something I want to point out is we didn't do this study, but we referenced it in this blog that we wrote, this article that we wrote, that Google released some data, and then the Toast kind of wrote an article around that data, that when someone searches restaurants near me and where they're located, there's a 30% chance they're going to convert immediately, 60% chance they're going to convert within an hour, and 80% chance that they're going to eventually convert and go dine at one of the places they searched. So that's a very captive quality audience. So that's one thing to know, is that's a really high search intent for this industry. So that's a really promising thing to see. Second thing I want to look at is, okay, so what's my competition look like? Again, this is a type of thing where you can get more sophisticated reports to get exact numbers. But I'm just looking for steakhouses in Indianapolis. Okay, so we can see downtown Indianapolis, you got a concentration of a few, probably higher end, and then around some of the suburbs around the city. So I could see, okay, I probably don't want to open up one downtown unless I have a specific reason that I know it's going to be successful. It gives me, an advantage. I might be looking, in a different area where there's maybe not another steakhouse. So I'd at least have that kind of carved out. And then I might look at what other restaurants just in general around where I'd want to open mine. So this is that's the type of basic, research you're going to want to demonstrate in your business plan to your lender. So we'll keep going through this, and let's come down to the marketing and sales strategy. Now, again, your marketing strategy doesn't need to show something that no one's ever done before, and that's why your restaurant's going to be successful. You can, if you've got a great idea, feel free to include that. But what's most important in this section, especially for a lender, is to demonstrate how you're going to acquire your customers. And that includes some numbers involved with that. So customer acquisition, like you could demonstrate the same thing I just did. We're going to run Google ads maybe for our restaurant, and here's some of the search volume. Here's a typical conversion rate on that search volume. So we think we'll get X amount of customers to come down at our restaurant every month based on paid advertising. So those are examples, tangible examples of how you're going to acquire your customers, and actually demonstrate that rather than just saying, we're going to open up a restaurant, people will come, because that's not going to cut it for your lender. You need to have some real examples that can actually prove that that's the case. So we'll keep scanning on through here. Again, all these different sections, you can include those, especially for how that makes sense for you. Use this as a guide, but that's the point you need to get to. How are you going to acquire your customers, and how many customers do you plan to acquire? And is that realistic? Coming down to the operations plan. So legal entity structure, your facility, how you're going to operate your kitchen, that kind of thing, which again is important. But one of the key things that your lender is looking for in this section is, do you or the team around you have the relevant experience to be successful in this industry? So do you have experience running a restaurant or being a cook on the line, or do you have a partner in the business that has significant experience in the restaurant industry? That is something we would see all the time, is people who wanted to open up a business, like maybe they had been a career marketing executive, and then they decided, man, I'm really passionate about donuts and I want to open up a donut shop. And maybe that sounds great. But then we want to know, it's like, okay, well, have you made donuts before? Have you sold donuts before? Have you worked in a shop before? Do you have someone on your team who's done that before? So that's one thing we're going to be looking for. And the second part of that is going to be, do they realize the commitment that they are making? So, waking up and going to the office 9 to 5 for 15 years as a marketing executive is a different beast than showing up at 4 a.m. and baking donuts and then working a minimum wage job. Now, you're going to hopefully make more than minimum wage, but that's the type of work that you're going to be doing. And people don't always realize what they're signing up for before that they've actually experienced it, or they have that experience. So your lender is going to want to make sure that they have confidence that you know what you're doing and you're aware of what you're jumping into. Okay, so then we're going to keep going through here. Financial projections is, we're probably biased in this degree, but it's the most important part of the business plan and should be the longest section of your business plan. We've got sales charts, we've got key financial ratios, income statement summary, full 5 years of income statement, cash flow statement, balance sheet. So again, I mentioned we have a restaurant specific template where it does all of this for you. You put in kind of the numbers specific to your business. It's going to help you calculate your restaurant based on your revenue based on your menu, your costs of your employees, your monthly expenses. Very simple to go through this, and then it's going to generate all of these numbers for you, these nice financial statements that your lender is going to require. And again, with all of our experience as being SBA lenders, myself and our founder Adam, these templates were built with that in mind, so we know what the lender is looking for. Okay, so the reason I show you that is because the most important things you want to cover in your financial projections are your projections within the range of industry standards? Like, have you checked, these numbers make sense for a steakhouse in Indiana, if you can get that specific, what does total revenue look like? Is that realistic? Profit margins, are those percentages in line with industry standards? If not, do you have a good reason for why they're high or why they're low? Is the business cash flowing? When will you be cash flow positive? Lenders are really going to focus on your debt service coverage ratio. They want to see that be 1.2 or higher, which this template, will help you calculate those things. The reason why they want 1.2 is, they want to see that you have $1.20 in free cash flow every year, in each year for every $1 of debt payments. You don't have to have it all in one hand, but your cash flow needs to be able to cover that to make sure you're gonna be able to make your loan payment. So those are some of the things, you can do. So maybe you're like, well, I don't know what an industry average is. Very simple. Google search that. You could look up typical profit margin for a steakhouse. Now net, let's see, that's 2 to 6%. Gross might be 38 to 42%. So you can see, as you're making your projections, are you within line on those metrics? In this example, we get there eventually. So that's kind of important to know in your financial projections. So let's go back. Okay, and so the projections are going to round out, the rest of this business plan template. But the last thing I want to hit on, the fifth key point, is a demonstration of commitment, or skin in the game is what a lender might call it typically. They want to see that there's mutual risk, that you are sharing in the risk of this endeavor. Now, their risk might be greater because they're putting in maybe $100,000, $200,000, $500,000. Your risk might look like a personal investment of cash. It might look like collateral. You might be putting up a car title, a house, getting a second mortgage, a deed, something valuable that would really hurt if you lost it. They don't want to do that to cause you pain. They want to do that to make sure that you're just as committed to this as they are, and that you're going to see it through, and that you're going to make it work. Another example would be is a lot of times when someone is starting a business, they think that the best demonstration of commitment they can make is by quitting their full-time job, which in some cases is necessary. In many cases, it's a greater sign of commitment that you're going to be willing to keep that income for as long as you can and work overtime to make the business happen. That's a really selling point for a lender oftentimes. So that's what they want to see. That fifth point is a demonstration of skin in the game and commitment to what you're doing. So there you have it. Those are the 5 key points that are going to be really important in your business plan. Get this free template down in the description. If you need help with financial projections for your restaurant, grab the template. What we can do for you, if you want us to do a free review, you can do it right here too. Even if you didn't use our template or our products, we're happy to provide a free review of your projections, give you some feedback, how we think it could be improved or blind spots potentially. But reach out to us at support@projectionhub.com. If you have any questions about your business plan or about your projections, we'd be happy to help. And as promised, we do have a promo code you can grab. If you download this business plan template, it'll be right there in there, PH20BP, and I even linked to the template. You get a 20% discount on the projection template. And also we have a link to a video that completely walks you through how to fill out that template if you have questions. So again, thanks for sticking with me, and I hope this helps.